What is good, you guys? This is Steven with All Talk On, and today we are going over my little brother's $500 build. This will be a complete build guide. I will be putting the whole thing together right in front of you guys. But first, we're going to just show off the parts. I put them in a nice little fancy order like everybody else does on YouTube. That might be backwards, but you know what? Who cares? Anyways, you guys, this is basically it. I finally got all the parts in. So I'm going to go over the parts real quick with you guys. So first things first is we have the EVGA 500 watt 80 plus efficiency power supply, which will be more than sufficient enough for this build. We're just going to go down the line if you haven't noticed. I know usually people start with the processor, but fuck the processor. Anyways, so next we have his hard drive, which I didn't purchase. I already had one of these. This is a Western Digital Scorpion Blue 2.5 inch hard drive, 500 gigabytes. So he's going to be using that. That's more than enough. Then for his internet, we are going to be using a TP-Link. If you guys notice, I put a review on this. Definitely an awesome buy. I only paid $7.99 for it, so awesome build. Sorry if there's an echo or anything. I'm in my garage right now, so you know that's how it's going to go. That's why you guys see man posters posted up and stuff like that, and tools all over the place. Trust me, if this camera was turned around, you guys would see the massive amount of motorcycle parts and shit just lying everywhere, which I didn't want to see. Freaking engine cranes and whatnot. So, next we have the processor. We have the Intel Pentium G3258. So if you guys haven't noticed me going through this build so far, this is basically a build that I suggest all the time for like my $500 budgets, $450 budgets, even $400, and sometimes even as close as the $350 budgets for some of the parts. So I'm putting my money where my mouth is here. I am going all out. I am missing a part, but I'll pop it out and show you. So then we have the graphics card. We have the R9 270X Power Color Devil. I originally ordered a Turbo Duo, but this is what they sent me. I feel like they didn't necessarily send me the wrong one. I feel like they labeled it under the purchase as you were buying the wrong one. So if you guys bought one of these, just be prepared to have a card that's a lot longer than it should be, and hope to God your case supports it, because if not, you're going to either be sending this back for a shittier card or buying a new case to support a better card. But I am happy with this. The case I have does support it, and that's what we're going on to next. Is we have the Thermaltake Core V1 mini ITX case. Awesome freaking case, you guys. I love it already. I fell in love with it as soon as I pulled it out. For the cooler, we're going to be using the Hyper TX3 by Cooler Master. And then for the motherboard and the RAM, we have the motherboard is the Asus H81i Plus mini ITX board. Now the RAM is already installed because I got this stuff from Newegg a long time ago. But for the RAM, we have the G-Skill Sniper Series, 8 gigabytes. Let me try. I'm trying to get the box out. Sorry. We have a G-Skill Sniper Series, 8 gigabytes, 1600 megahertz RAM. So 8 gigs of RAM, nice and standard set of RAM. So basically, you guys, we're going right into this build. You know, cue that part where I start building shit. Alright, you guys, so the first thing we're going to want to do is, obviously, pop open the motherboard, see what we got inside of here. I already did like a little unboxing of this, so I'm just going to rush through it. I'm going to rip all this shit out the way. No one needs that shit. Fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck that. Manual. Fuck that. I'm gonna have to clean my garage. I'm throwing shit all over the place. And I threw probably a bunch of shit that we're probably gonna need. I just dropped something and I don't know where it went. I'll figure out what I dropped when I have to look for it. So we're gonna keep that out because I like to do it on that. So obviously this motherboard is super tiny. I'm going to pick that up because it has my case badges in it, which I care a large amount about case badges. So first thing we're going to go through, you guys, installing the CPU. So I'm going to touch something metal real quick. Hold on. I don't have one of those wristbands. Sorry. I don't care. So bam. That is the Mobo. Let's get a zoom in on that badass. Zoom! Zoom! Alright, okay, I'm sorry, you guys, I'm sorry. I'm having too much fun here. I'm excited. I've been waiting for this for a really long time. Fucking UPS. I hate you guys. I really do. Anyways, I know I'm not the only one there. So, the guy was really nice and really cool, but you fucking took forever, bro. They didn't show up to my house till 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock at night, you guys. Like, way to cut it to the very last second of the delivery date. Like, really. So we do get the Intel Pentium G. I'm unboxing it off the camera. So we get our little case badge on here, right here, which is pretty nice. Gonna keep track of that, because like I said, case badges mean a surprising a lot to me. They give you a special offer on McAfee. Fuck McAfee. I'm not gonna use it. So in your CPU box, you obviously have your reference cooler. So really cool looking, honestly. Wow, it's actually really cool looking. We're not gonna fucking use it though. Yeah, I ain't fucking stupid. I don't use that shit. The fuck, what am I gonna do with this shit, you guys? Don't come over to my fucking house with your goddamn reference coolers. You got a reference cooler on your computer, me and you aren't gonna get along. I'm just kidding. So we have our Pentium G, and I don't know, okay, I didn't know how to get it out. Okay, so, okay, it's covered on both sides. So bam, it comes in its little box, and obviously you can't just, compatibility. People are probably like, God, this guy's so rough with his shit. Well, it ain't my computer, so I don't give a fuck. It's my little brother's. I did pay for it, so it's not like I didn't pay for this shit. What do we got here? This is one of the more complicated LG 1150 socket covers that I've had in a while. Okay, get that shit out of here. No one wants that shit. So obviously we're gonna pop our Intel Pentium G 3258 out of the nice little cover, nice and glossy from the lights. Very tiny freaking CPU here, you guys. So obviously we see an arrow right here. Bam, arrow. And they started doing this on these newer ones, is they put the arrow fucking hidden so it's hard to find. I really hope you guys can see this as well as I would like you to. I'm sorry, there's not the best lighting in my garage at the moment. I don't feel like moving my table. So we're gonna hunt down the arrow on here because I'm blind too and I don't see it. I don't see the freaking arrow. Why are you guys lying? Okay, they put the arrow on the top, so it's right here in this corner. So we're gonna match up this corner to this corner. What I also like to do is I like to look at the back, and you can see cut out, cut out. If you guys see cut out, cut out, cut out, cut out, cut out, you can also line it up like that with the motherboard. So at the top with the arrow, it should have two little square cutouts. So we see cut out, and then one cutout for each corner, which is what we're seeing. So that's another way to line it up if you guys want to be 150% sure. But because I know that the arrow is on this corner, obviously, arrow facing that way. So we stick that bad boy in there. My dick is already getting a little hard. Sorry for the underage kids that are watching this. And we're just gonna fucking, bam, pry this bad boy down with the demon power invested in me by the devil power color graphics card that I have. Okay, so that's it. That's it. Oh wait, I'm gonna install the RAM. I'm gonna uninstall the RAM, then install it in case someone doesn't know how to install RAM, which if you don't know how to install RAM, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry. It's just, alright, so let's just pretend that this RAM was never in here. So we got G-Skill Sniper Series, 8 gigs, 1600 megahertz, cast latency of 9, looks like a freaking gun, nice metal, dense heat sinks. So obviously, see that? This side shorter than this side. Short side, long side. See this? Short side, long side. So we're just literally gonna line it up. With this motherboard also I'll touch on, there's no clips on this side. They're in place. There's clips on this side. So the reason that is because the graphics card comes so close, they don't want you to have to fuck with clips too close, which is a real big hassle. So we're just gonna stuff these bad boys in until we hear a nice satisfying click. And there we go. I won't talk during this one so you can hear this one's click, I guess, if you really need to hear what it sounds like. Bam, nice and in there. If you're not on a flat surface like me, support the motherboard underneath it. Don't bend the shit out of your motherboard. Horrible idea. So next we're gonna go into installing this in the case. I think I might install the cooler while it's inside the case. I'm not really sure how I wanna go about it. I kinda wanna install it now, but I'm not sure. Anyways, I'm just gonna roll the whole thing and probably cut and edit in between, so you guys aren't waiting for 20 minutes for me to do something. So now I have the case up here. So anyways, you guys, I'm gonna have to stop recording real quick. Alright, you guys, so I got my case here. Basically, I only left a few of the thumb tabs on it, so I could basically just remove everything super quick and get it out of the way, so that way we can start installing our motherboard, start plugging things up, and you know what I mean, do what we gotta do. We also have this little bag of bullshit that no one cares about but nerds and squares. So, no, I'm kidding. I actually am going to be using the bag of bullshit. So, but I don't know. I'm excited. I'm talking a lot of shit right now, and honestly, I hope it's entertaining. To be fair, this is actually how I usually talk. I talk really stupid. A lot of people are like, that kid must not have an education. Well, you know what? Suck it, bro. I do have an education, believe it or not. Alright, so the bottom does come off, and with this case you can change the bottom if you want to. I wouldn't suggest it because that thermaltake sign at the front doesn't rotate. But either way, it comes off if you want it to. So we're going to pull that off. Yeah, so it's nice to pull it off because then I can install the cooler once it's inside the case. We're going to get these wires out of the way because it's just, get the hell out of here. I just spent a lot of time cleaning my garage and I'm just throwing stuff all over the place right now. I'm not going to videotape me doing the cable management. I'll probably just get it all installed and then show you guys the finished product. So let's get, we already have standoffs. I'm going to grab the cooler real quick. I'm going to grab this bad boy and just set it in lightly, which actually before I do that, I'm going to be smart and I'm going to install the I/O shield. Definitely something you guys want to make sure you remember to do. Don't want to forget about that. Sorry if this camera quality is not that good. My other camera is dead, the one that records 1080. So this is going to be recorded in standard definition, and I apologize, but there really isn't shit else I can do. Otherwise, you guys wouldn't see the build because I'm not going to wait. So you just install the I/O shield. You just come from the back and just push it in. Honestly, it's pretty self-explanatory on how the notches on it look. You'll be able to hopefully figure it out. If you can't figure it out, you probably shouldn't be building a computer in the first place. But one thing when you do put it in, because they are a bitch and a half to get out, make sure you line it up with the right way your motherboard is going to be going in, as you guys can see there. Put your motherboard in the way it's supposed to go in if you have to do it for a quick reference. I don't have to because I can line shit up in my mind, I guess. I don't know what the proper term for bragging about that is. Now I always have trouble with these because these always have things sticking fucking out of them, and these things that stick out of them always get in the way of me having a good time with my motherboard and the I/O plate. I don't necessarily know why they do it like this. Like basically they're just like, let's make the I/O shield as annoying as we can. So keep that in mind, you guys. The I/O shield can be your worst enemy at times. Is that supposed to happen like that? Is that supposed to go in there like that? I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Some of these like metal brackets like push into the actual plugs, and I don't know if they're actually supposed to do that or not, but they're doing it. So whatever. I think it just depends on which plug it is. So we have our bag of bullshit here. I don't know where to just pour it out. Nah, it's got a hole in it. I don't really want to do it. So I'll just move this and just pour it out on the table. Hopefully I don't, oh, what is this? This comes with little rubbery thingies. I don't know what these are for. I didn't read the manual. It comes with little like rubber cap thingamajiggers. Don't know what they're for, but basically I'm gonna look for screws that look like motherboard screws. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So chances are, if you're building your computer like mine with only one size motherboard, there will be just enough screws to screw that motherboard in, so it's a little easier to find the motherboard screws. Another way that I like to use it to tell is basically they're big. They got this big head at the top, which is how I usually, I'm like, okay, that's probably for the motherboard. So basically I'm just going to try and get one of these bad boys in there with my screwdriver that I probably should have already had handy dandy, my little baby screwdriver. So I'm just going to screw one of these screws in there and try and get it threaded so that way the other ones can just line up. That seems really tough to put in. I'm going to get a bigger screwdriver, which I once again, I don't, oh, I'll put it over here. Okay, no worries you guys, I got it. So let's screw the other screw in while it's lined up. So, got our RAM in, got our CPU in. We're looking pretty good shape right now, you guys. It's pretty nice. I love this case. Oh my god. It is making it super accessible. I mean, there's holes through all the sides. As you guys can see, I'm digging in through the side, both sides of the case. No problem. Back of the case, no problem. Sides, front, top, it doesn't matter. I have all the playroom I need in the world right now. This is pretty friggin' awesome. So when you're tightening down your motherboard screws, this is getting really kind of tough to tell. But you just want to tighten it hand tight. You don't want to fucking crack your motherboard. See how there's space right here? So the screw was getting really tight, so I stopped. But apparently I wasn't tight enough because there's still wiggle room, and you don't want that wiggle room. But you can tell once you start hitting the motherboard and pushing pressure on it, and that's basically when you want to stop, is when you get a light amount of pressure on it, and that means you're good. You don't need to go any more hardcore for that. And I dropped a screw because my life is amazing. So next, yeah, don't take anything I say to you guys like seriously. I'm just being stupid because I'm like excited, bored, and recording a video and trying to keep talking, you know. Like, I can talk for days, by the way. I don't know if you guys noticed. I'm pretty sure you have. So that's our motherboard installed. That freaking easy. That freaking quick. Look at that. Shake it. Ain't going nowhere. Ain't gonna fucking throw the case around, whatever. You know what? Who needs this? Bruce Banner, I slashed your tires. Ugh. There you go. Came off. So I didn't have to do that. Sorry. I just made a Hulk reference. My bad. That movie was horrible. The older ones that came out were horrible. The newer ones that came out were slightly better. Alright, so we're gonna pop out these PCI slots because I already know we're not gonna be having those in. So we're gonna pop these out right here, right here. And what do I want to do next? Do I want to install the cooler? Or do I want to start plugging in the case wires? I don't know. I like doing the case wires, but at the same time, I like to kind of know how I'm going to be managing stuff. But I might need to reference to my motherboard to find out the switches, proper switches for audio. I do know where the USB 3.0. I don't like the location. It's right here, right in the back middle of the motherboard, which it should never be. I don't know why companies think it's a good idea to put that there. Like, that's such a horrible place to go. Like, look at this. Gotta reach all the way around over here and just beep. So that's in. That's just gonna be in the way, sticking up like a fucking bat out of hell. I don't like that. Like, why? Why, company, why? So I'm gonna pop out the drive bays, because I'm not going to be using one of them first off, and second off, the other one needs to come out so I can put the hard drive in that I am using, which I might use this. Oh shit. So one screw on the top mounts this in like that, just shoves in, and unscrew that and it just pops right out. So we'll pull that one out of the way. We'll get rid of this screw. Now, one thing I do like to do is to make sure I don't lose screws from their places, is I'll put them back in where I pulled them out from. So I'm just going to screw this screw back in so I know it's for that drive cage. And if I ever want to put the drive cage back in the future, I can definitely easily do that. So, this case is just awesome for $40. I'm just, I don't know, ecstatic. Like I said, I haven't seen a nice gaming build go on with this case. So it's really nice to kind of get to be one of the first people to do it, at least that I have seen. So this drive fucking cage right here is stuck up here. So you gotta pull this one, you gotta pull it back first and then up. So maybe I had to do that with the other one and I just didn't know. So we're gonna install the hard drive into that. So for the hard drive, as you guys heard me say, I have this 500 gigabyte Western Digital Scorpion Blue. Okay, so it does line up. I'm just an idiot. All right, that makes sense. I can live with that. I don't know why I couldn't get it to line up earlier. What was I doing wrong? Well, yeah, you know what, guys? It's late. I've worked all day. I've only had 3 hours of sleep, so cut me some slack. Fucking screw. So cut me some slack. I'm tired as shit. I didn't get off work till 4. UPS guy doesn't. I wanted to do this video earlier so I wouldn't be up late building his computer, but UPS guy didn't show up till fucking, 8 o'clock at night, which is just outrageous. It got to the point where I was like literally just like, okay, where is this guy? Like, I'm waiting outside for you, But this hard drive, we're gonna want it facing downward because that's just, how I'm gonna want it. And line the screws back up, make sure it's back in place. So there we go, we got the hard drive in. Let me screw the screw in for it and make sure that everything's all nice and tight and fit and nothing's fidgeting around. Okay, so that is a hard drive in there. We have a little baby hard drive, nice and cool. Baby build, baby hard drive, you know what I mean? So for all these power wires and stuff, I'm gonna actually look up the manual for it because it's gonna be a hassle otherwise. So let's get the cooler out, install the cooler. Give me a second, guys. Actually, I'm gonna go run and grab something. All right, you guys, so I'm back. I had to go grab, I forgot I wasn't gonna be using the stuff they give you in here. I was going to be using some other thermal paste because I am going to be trying to overclock it, and I do want to make sure that I'm using better thermal paste. So I have this. Okay, so with this CPU, I'm trying to find the damn card that it gave me with this too, because I'm going to do a little bit of a weird application of thermal compound. You guys don't have to copy me. Everyone has their own preference on how they want to do thermal compound. For the most part, if your temperatures are nice, if like you're not having temperature issues, there was no wrong way or right way to install it, to apply it. As long as you're not getting bad issues, you didn't do it wrong, or bad temp issues. So we're going to start putting this bad boy together real quick. Hyper 2 or Hyper TX3. So the LGA 1150 socket is the one that I'm going to need. Those are AMD brackets, and these are Intel's brackets right here. So from what I've been looking up the installation of this, so I'm going to zoom in on this. I have screws all over the place, so don't mind it. Let's zoom in on this so you guys can see a little better. So the thing that people were complaining about is this is kind of annoying to get on there. So this plastic is already overlapping where I need to put the mounts. Try and get that out of the way, because there's like middle screws and non-middle screws. So I'm gonna use the, pretty sure is it supposed to go on top or on bottom? Let me check the manual. I hate these manuals too. These manuals suck. They don't really tell you exactly anything that you actually need to know, actual problems that you would run into. Okay, so they do go on the bottom, screws face downward, and it comes with a little bag of screws, as well as some Cooler Master thermal compound, which I will not be using, as well as some little rubber thingies. So let's drop all those there. 8 screws. It also comes with some extra fan screws. I should have 8. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 screws. We're good. If not, I have extra screws lying around all over the place in my house. Oh, hey there, buddy. So, it's got 2 little, I don't know, it's gonna be hard to see. Let me get out of the light and fucking, oh wow, I fail at this. So it's got like an 8 type cutout, which means that the screws can go in one hole or the other. Let me see if it's more specific on the LGA 1150 and tells me which way to put it. This is what I mean by they're not specific enough. There is no instructions on how to do the LGA 1150 socket. They just, yeah, there isn't anything. They just kind of say this is the one size socket and this is the other size socket. So I'm basically gonna have to figure out for my damn self which one works and which one doesn't. So they are labeled right and left. I'm not sure. Yeah, so I think that means that one side goes on the right, one side goes on the left. I don't think it's really going to matter. I mean, it's going to be on either side. It's going to be the right and the left. So, let's see. That seems too close. I think I'm going to use the further away ones because I feel like that's the one I'm supposed to use. Not really 100% sure. Like I said, we'll find out when I go to install it. All I'm trying to do is see if it lines up with the holes that I chose. So I don't even need them right side up for this. So yep, it lines up. So if you have an LGA 1150 socket, because they didn't include it in the instructions, and you're using a TX3 cooler, use the holes on the, as you can see, I don't know, it's hard to see on this camera. This camera sucks ass, and the lighting's not the best. So you're gonna use the outer holes. Basically, this hole right here. There's like I said, it's like cut like a figure 8. You're gonna want to use that top one, not the bottom one. You want to use the top and the bend. So obviously, I'm gonna have to pop this off and put it on the right side up. All set, and a little dangling. So when I was talking about clips that go through, is as you guys can see right there, this end of the clip goes to the motherboard, and then you push down on it and it pops it out. See, pushes it out, and that's what keeps it stuck. So that's what I'm talking about as far as it could have been, you know, it's not going to be as good. And I could definitely see those clips either wearing out or breaking over time. But I mean, like I said, as long as you're not pulling it out constantly, you're not going to have to worry about this. This will last a long time. So we're going to pull this off. So there is one thing. This does have space in between it, and for that reason I will be using the spread method. Normally I don't use the spread method. I'm pretty sure if you guys saw my last video I was saying, you know, I don't ever use the spread method, and I tried it that first time. People hate the spread method, but then there's people that fucking love it. It's just fanboys, you know what I mean? You guys don't listen to them. There's no technically wrong and right way to do this. I mean, of course there's a wrong way and a right way, but at the same time, as far as methods to getting better temperatures, there's no wrong way and right way. Of course you can just fucking screw the whole thing up and have horrible temperatures, and obviously you did it wrong, but I mean, as far as the actual as far as the actual method of how you do it, it's not really gonna matter. It really doesn't. I did the spread method, and you know what, I didn't see any bad temperatures, so it doesn't matter. But basically all I'm gonna do though, I'm not really gonna do too much of a spread here. I just want to fill a really thin layer to make sure I fill these cracks. This is what I want, because there are cracks in the CPU cooler, in between the stainless steel or whatever this is, aluminum. I mean, in between the aluminum and the copper heat pipes, there is definitely some cracks in there. So if you guys can see what I did, I'm doing like, this is my own method. I'm just making this up as I go. I did this basically filling in the cracks, and basically I'm just gonna spread it now. And I'm gonna spread it really thin, like super thin, and I'm gonna go along the ways with this so I don't drop the card in any of the cracks and pop out any of the stuff. So we're gonna just start spreading a little bit here. Try and get this. So I'm gonna go at a little bit of an angle. Lay the card down flat. Sorry, I dropped my Bluetooth headset. So there we go. I got it all nice, little smooth, like very thin too, you guys. I don't know if you can see this, but there's a lot of places that you can actually see the copper pipes poking through, and I'm even going to smooth it out even more. Basically, that's what I wanted. I want it to be super smooth, super transparent, to basically just use it to fill in the cracks in between the heat pipes and aluminum, and that's what I want. I don't want a thick layer on there. Now that I am not finished with this though, that is just my first application of basically making sure those cracks are going to be filled in. Next, I'm going to take this and put a very small dot, since I already have some applied to the cooler. You do not want to go overkill with this now if you're doing it this method. So you don't have to do it this method. You can just put a dot. I'm pretty sure you'll be fine. But like I said, I'm going to be overclocking this, and it is going to be running as a full-time system for my little brother. I want to make sure that it's nice and cool. So basically, I'm just going to take it, and I'm just going to put a really small dot right there. Real tiny dot. So very little. Probably could have put less than that, but you know what? That stuff squirts out really fast. So, and next is the actual installation of this bad boy. So I'm going to pull the USB 3.0 out of the way because I just kind of stuck it in there for the hell of it. I don't know really why. Basically, we're just going to stick this bad boy on there. So far, it looks like it's too high, which is something that the manual probably should have told me. But, oh no, because that's supposed to push down. Okay. So I thought it was too high. Like I said, I've never installed this cooler before, you guys, so cut me some slack here. Okay, now it's like starting to make some contact with it a little bit there. Yeah, is it? So we're gonna push this down, and what am I supposed to turn it or something, or what? What do I do here? Okay, so I'm supposed to push and turn, so I'll do one side and I'll do the other side. Give it a nice push and turn. I'm going to turn the case around. So these notches are a little bit annoying to figure out. Once you figure them out though, it looks like it's pretty straightforward. They do only turn in one direction. So, I don't know, they turn in both, I guess. Well, once it hits a certain point, it doesn't turn anymore. So it's like a little bit tough though. I'm like having a little trouble here getting this one to push all the way down. Probably because the CPU, and then that's what I was afraid of, one of these popping up once I finally get all the pressure on it. Got my hand stuck. Alright, so we'll push that. Actually, if you line these up in the right spot, all you have to do is just push and it clips down. So I probably should have known that earlier. Would have been nicer to know. Make sure they're all on there nice and tight. And like I said, so this cooler honestly looks like you could pull it off really easy. So I wouldn't mind using it. I don't see any issue using it. Just like I said, using this constantly, like as a cooler to constantly take on and off, is probably not a good idea. As you guys can see, I'm going to show you actually. So this is another thing why I always suggest low profile RAM. Look at that fan clearance to that RAM. It's literally sitting on top of it. It is literally sitting on top of it. So, not bad though. Fits just fine. They're not, it's like barely touching it. Like you might be able to slide like a piece of paper through there. So I definitely get where they were saying it's not going to fit a Cooler Master 212 Evo. As you guys can see, the case window, or the case panel in general, if you want to use the window on top or on the side, barely shuts with, oh no, there's about a 1/4 inch, closer to 1/2 inch in there. Not a bad deal. Definitely something we can work with. So next, we're going to start looking into plugging in some cables, I guess, which sucks, but you know, cables, right? Cables. I'll probably just speed through this part because I'm going to do a little bit of cable management, and then we'll hop into the GPU and the power supply, which is more cables and more cables. Alright you guys, so I got my hard drive, LED power switch and all that stuff hooked up, the audio hooked up. I'm not going to hook up the USB 3.0 because of how hard it was to get in. Now I'm going to put my SATA cable in. So I'm looking at these SATAs, and I'm pretty sure they're both SATA 6. I just don't know which one is which, so obviously refer to the manual. The reason I didn't show me plugging in any of the other power cords, because honestly, they're both the same. Sorry, they're not the same. Every computer is going to have different configurations for where and the order. So this is my SATA 6 gigabit per second 1 port. So that's the one I'm going to be using for this. Now, I want this curved side to fit on the bottom part of the hard drive, for the fact that it is facing the bottom of the case, and I don't want any accidental, I don't want to put any pressure on the cord. So hopefully this is going to face the right way, which of course it is, thankfully. I was going to say it isn't, and I was about to get upset. So basically what that's going to do is it's angled at the bottom of the case, so it's not going to be pushing down on the case. Hopefully it'll have enough room in there. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be facing upward or not. I don't see why they would make it to where you have to face it upward, but just to make sure, I'm going to grab the bottom of the case and I'm going to put it on, but there is a lot of clearance at the bottom of the case, so I don't see an issue with it, but just in case, yeah, so it fits in there fine, which is nice, works for me. So put that back on. So that is a handful of the wiring done. Next we're going to start looking at putting in the power supply and routing all the cables and doing all that annoying bullshit that no one ever wants to do, because honestly cable management is a bitch and a half. But this case looks like it might be moderately easy, so we're going to pop open the case for the power supply. Nice fan, I love the fans on these things. I'm going to pull a little sticker off the E, because you know, got to. So basically, if you want access to your, this is kind of crappy, but if you want access to your CPU cooler's rear plate, you got to remove your power supply, which is always why you want to install that. In this case, for instance, you want to install that first. You want to make sure that you install your CPU cooler before you try to install your power supply. So there's a whole rat's nest of cables, which I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do with, because I do believe in great cable management. Okay, so I had the fan facing the wrong way. I'm going to put it facing down. I'm just going to have to let my little brother know that you do not set this down on anything. You don't want to suffocate your system. And this does support full-size ATX power supplies. As you guys can see, we even have enough room to stuff that 750 watt 80 plus gold G2 Supernova one that I have by EVGA, which is a super long power supply. So we can definitely even fit that in here if we wanted to, but because he doesn't need that anywhere near that kind of power, we're not going to. Also, like I said, they sent me a different graphics card, so I will be using both of those PCI VGA, you know, I don't know, it depends on which power supply you're looking at, but they label them differently. Basically, the PCI power cords, I will be using actually both of those. 2 6-pins is what it requires for that big old graphics card, which you guys will see me install and show you guys why this case is amazing and why I'm lucky I didn't go for the other case I was looking for, because it would not have fit that graphics card, and I would have been mad saying, wow, now not only do I either have to buy a new case or I have to talk to ncix for giving me a smaller graphics card, which no one ever wants. You always want to get the best graphics. Okay, so this is going in a little funny. I don't like how it's going in, and it's all chewed up. The hell happened here? So we're gonna loosen up the screws so I can that's another thing, you guys, don't tighten your screws all the way down, keep them loose, that way you can kind of give it wiggle room to line everything up straight, which is what I needed to do there. So it's not a bad idea. So we're just gonna finish screwing this in all the way. And yeah, by the way, I don't know if you guys noticed, my hands are still covered in paint from work. I didn't wash them. I don't care. It's whatever. So that's the EVGA 500 power supply in there with the rat's nest of cables that I'm just gonna, basically they're just gonna get stuffed like right around there, which is why I said this case is pretty awesome, because if you look down, you know what I mean, you can't even really see them except for they're underneath. So now we're just gonna sort through this hornet's nest of crazy amounts of shit. We are going to be using pretty much all of these except for 2. We're not going to be using this set of power for the hard drives. Basically, another thing is, when you route wires individually like this, you want to route them, basically pull them away so they're not like underneath wires and pulling at them, and all that good stuff. So my camera's about to die. I'll be right back with a new battery. Alright, sorry about that, guys. Camera was dying, got a new battery. But basically, I was routing the Molex through for some reason. Anyways, you just want to make sure that the wires are completely untangled. There's nothing going to be in its way to route it there clearly. So we're going to route this one to my hard drive first, because that's where I want to start at. Basically plug in the hard drive and get this in there. Oh snap. Get this USB 3.0 out of the way. And we're going to route it through the bottom, which seems like a horrible idea because of how this case is. So I'm going to get rid of all these screws that I have here. I'm going to put them up somewhere else real quick, because I'm just going to end up knocking them all over off the table and stuff, and it's not going to be a fun time. So I'm curious on what all these rubber things are for. Maybe these are for the hard drives. Maybe it's for the hard drive cage. I don't know. If they are for the hard drive cage, I'm going to pop it out and obviously put these in, because that'll... Oh, they are for the hard drive cage. That's why that didn't quite fit. I was wondering why there were spaces in between this, trying to mount this in here. But that would explain it, basically. So that makes sense to me now. But either way, who cares? Doesn't necessarily need to happen. If the hard drive is making noises that I don't want to hear, then obviously I'm gonna change it out. But for the most part, I don't think I'll see a problem with it. Hard drives have been mounted to metal shit for like as long as I can remember. So I don't see a huge issue, you know, obviously if you're a noise freak. There you go. So, there's not a lot of room right here for this, but basically in between the hard drive and the hard drive cage, or the hard drive cage and the power supply, is where I'm going to be stuffing this bulk of extra friggin' wires for more stuff that I don't use, that I don't have in this build. So I'm just going to stuff them in between here. I'm actually going to unplug. That's actually kind of, okay, never mind. I thought they made that kind of stupid there for a second. So I'm going to unplug this first and squeeze this stuff in there. And then we have this, which I'm not going to be using either. So basically we're going to take it and probably shove it in behind this drive cage as well, because there's a lot of room, believe it or not, behind this drive cage, which is kind of a good thing. I mean, a very good thing. Let's see how much I can shove behind this thing. Yeah, by the way, you guys, if you don't know this, cable management is going to be a lot of trial and error. It really will be for every case. It's going to be sometimes more annoying for other cases than it will be for others. On top of it, you're just going to stuff something in there and be like, okay, that's not really working. Maybe I need to do this. And this other set of peripherals that I'm not using. I'm basically going to try and take all of these wires right here and stuff them in between the drive cage and the power supply to get rid of them so they're not in the way. Once again, this is why I wouldn't have to deal with these two sets of wires right here if this was a semi-modular. But you know what, it's whatever. It was a really cheap power supply and a really good trusted brand. I have EVGA in my system. If you guys wonder also why I'm always recommending those two power supplies, EVGA and Corsair, is because I personally have an EVGA and a Corsair power supply. So I can speak from preference and personal experience to tell you that they work perfectly fine for me. I have my EVGA 750 hooked up to a R9 280 Toxic, which is like the most power consuming. I mean, you guys saw that. It takes up as much power as an R9 290 Tri-X cooling, which is basically the same cooler that's taking up the same amount of power, but that card is just overclocked so heavy duty that it actually consumes as much power as that, which is freaking ridiculous for that 280. And I also have my roommates running the 270X off of a 600 watt power supply. So we're going to pull this out one more time so I can try and stuff more of these back there. Actually, I'm going to unplug this because I want this fan cord to go underneath it. And this is what I mean by trial and error, you guys. You're just going to have to sit here and screw around with what works with what your case is. The methods I'm using won't always work for someone else's case. So just keep that in mind. I could put the other drive cage right here to cover them, I guess, if I really wanted to, which I probably will, just because if I want, oh, that's upside down, that would explain why that doesn't work. And this USB 3.0 port has just been getting in my way non-stop. So, you know, let's see. Let me see if this covers it up better. Because if it covers it up better, then I am going to use it. So as you guys can see, that's basically hiding all the friggin' wires behind it, which is nice. And then even from the top you can't see, which is exactly what I wanted for that. So we're looking pretty good so far. Now all we have, look at this you guys, wire management like a boss. We have 3 total wires. We have the graphics card, which is technically 2 wires that form into one. We have our CPU, and then we have our motherboard. So that's basically all for the wires now. That's awesome. Oh wait, probably should plug the hard drive in if we ever want to actually do anything with this computer. Definitely probably need the hard drive. Oops. So there's a piece of metal sticking out there and I got a wire caught on it. Alright. So let's see. Come on, hard drive. There we go. So that's plugged in. We're going to run this here, and we're going to stuff all the extra cables as well for this in there, and bam, that is in. So that is our SATA cable in there. So if you guys want to see what it looks like from underneath, there you go. That's what we're looking at. Pretty nice, right? I think I'm doing pretty well off right here. But like I said in one of my videos, you guys, I'm not stupid when it comes to wires. I've done an extensive amount of work on wires. Not bragging or anything, I'm just saying, I mean, if you guys want an idea of what my garage looks like, I guess I could show you guys. So, let me see so I can see the table I'm pointing this at. Alright, so this table has like drills, carburetors, and speedometers for motorcycles. That table just has a bunch of random bolts, and underneath it are 2 motorcycle engines underneath there. We have a mini fridge. We have a engine stand, my other camera that's dead, and we also have my bike. I don't know if you guys could tell, it has reindeer antlers. We have a shop crane, some toolboxes, some motorcycle parts, a little back so as well as if we go over here, so Sorry, I'm shaking the camera. We have two more motorcycles, a bunch of other tools, parts, my girlfriend, and the Batman thing. I found some motorcycle exhaust up there. So yeah, you guys, my garage is pretty jam-packed full of just a bunch of shit. Like I said, I do a lot of extensive work on wires because of motorcycles always have wiring problems when they come to me for some reason, as well as my truck had a lot of wiring issues as well. Sorry, I'm kind of like adjusting the camera back. Okay, so we need that to come up a little bit. So yeah, that's just basically my garage, my mess of a garage right now. It's actually clean. And yes, those are antlers on my motorcycle. 'Tis the season to be jolly. My motorcycle looks like a friggin' reindeer. It's awesome. So next we're gonna run this up. This is the 24-pin connector to the motherboard. So we're gonna run it up through the bottom. I'm gonna stuff these there so I don't pinch them. And basically you're just gonna, so they always come like it's gonna plug in like this, which is hilarious because this clip is always on the outside of the motherboard, at least from what I've noticed. So I bend it the other way because these wires are really tough. So I'm not sure if this is a 20 or 24 pin. So it is a 24 pin. I mean, most motherboards standard come with a 24 pin nowadays. They haven't, I don't know when the last time I saw a 20. Well, I mean, I have seen one, but I mean not to buy. I have a 20 pin motherboard, but it's really old. So always trying to have some support on the motherboard when you guys are pushing wires in or plugs in. So there we go. You hear the nice satisfying clip, and we're good on that. So next we're going to do the power to the 4-pin, which I wish it was an 8-pin, but it isn't an 8-pin, so we'll just have to deal with that. How do I want to run this? I would have liked to have ran this in between the drive cages as well, but honestly there really isn't any more room in there. Maybe I can run it, oh, I could have ran it along the edge right here. Let me pull this SAT out. Let me see if it'll fit. Please fit, please fit. And this is what I'm talking about, trial and error, you guys. So I could run it alongside the drive cage, but there's a little space right here I could run it into, which isn't visible by the drive cage. So I'm going to do that, but in order to do that I have to pop out my drive cage. That's in there. Yeah, like I said, whenever you first get a case and you're first messing with it, there's a lot of things you're going to have to mess with, like a trial and error of messing with where things can be pushed around at. So there we go. Get that back in place. So the drive cage is pushing down on it pretty hardcore right now. So I wasn't going to show the video of me doing wire management, but in case you guys want to watch, this is going to be a really long video, you guys. So don't, just watch it if you want. If you guys want to learn some stuff about some computers, watch it. You know what I mean? So, yep, there we go. Now that wire is nicely managed through the bottom of the case. And then I'm going to plug it in and find out what I'm going to do with the excess wires there. We're going to do the graphics card, you guys. Hell yeah, the part you guys have probably all been waiting for, because I know I have. I really want to see what this bad boy looks like inside of me. Plugged in completely. So, crazy mouse pad. That's a huge mouse pad. It's bigger than the fucking case. Comes with a gigantic mouse pad, you guys. Power color devil. Like, that is super awesome. So, let's see here. Touch the case. Pull it out of the bag, and boom. All metal. This is all metal, believe it or not. Fucking awesome, awesome, awesome devil logo right there. Look at that. So, that's gonna be fucking sick. Nice cover plate on the back. Definitely digging that devil right there. R9 270X devil. Like, that is super nice. Nice ventilation. So we're looking at a pretty intense Tri-X cooling fan right here. Or Tri-X cooling, Tri-Fan solution. Cooling solution, I guess, I don't know. So I need to find out where I put those. I think these were it for the PCI. So we have the PCI slot protector. Pop that off. Bam. Okay, so this is why I was really lucky I bought this case, you guys. Check this out. Look at that. It's going through the front. Wait, move my hand. Oh my, what is it going through the front, Steven? How's it doing that? How's it going through the front of the case? Is there a hole there? Yes, there is a hole here. Believe it or not, there's a friggin' hole there to allow for just this right here. So that is awesome. That is freaking awesome. So I'm gonna push this bad boy in, make sure it's lined up right. Everything goes in right. Bam, clipped in. So let's screw it in so I can move it around and show you guys. All right, as you guys can see, the Devil logo. Bam. So as you guys see, it sticks out in the front a little bit. That is why I was happy I bought this case. They have a cutout so you can have longer graphics cards installed in there. So this is what the rig looks like, dude. I'm fucking stoked. I think this thing looks awesome. Sorry, voice cracking. It's really late. It's fucking UPS guy took forever. I'm so mad about that because I could have had this build done 2 hours ago and been in bed by now because I am tired. So we're gonna plug our 6-pin connector in finally with these two ones that I wish didn't exist, but they do, sadly, which it looks like it's going to give me a little shit trying to plug these in next to each other like that. There we go. So that's basically it for that graphics card being a badass, sitting there doing its damn thing. And let's start messing with the wires down here. So as far as tying wires down, I see a few places that they allow you to do it, just I don't see anything worth like actually trying to tie anything down to, because honestly if you guys look at my cable management, that is what we're looking at the top. Look at that. Not bad at all. I wish I had better light. I'll show better light in the overview video quickly at the end of this video. But basically I think that's everything plugged in. I think. So yeah. Cool. So now I just gotta stick the case back together, and am I missing anything? I feel like I'm missing something. I don't know. That should be everything though. We got the RAM in, all that good stuff. Yeah, should be good to go. All right, guys, we'll do the part where we do the walk around.